This is the Getaway on WDEV FM and AM. I'm Pitz Quattrone. And on the line we have Rickie Lee Jones. Hello, Rickie.
Hello there.
How are you today?
I'm good. Just waking up late. Waking up.
Okay, so we're in a different time zone, obviously.
I'm out in California. I've been out here about 10 months working on my book, getting up late.
Ah, okay, cool. So tell us about, first of all, let me just mention that you're coming to Vermont Saturday, September 8th to the Spruce Peak Performing Arts Center in Stowe at 7 p.m. And sprucepeakarts.org is the information that folks can check out for tickets and all the other information that they need. So you mentioned your book. Tell us about that. What's happening there?
Or if they can say Spruce Peak Arts 10 times really fast, free tickets.
That trips me up every time I say it.
So I think the book is almost done, but I've been feeling like that for about 2 years. It's an autobiography, and it's really quite beautiful, I think. You know, my parents had very unusual lives, and my grandfather was a vaudevillian, and I spent some time talking about their lives before I even get to me. And my childhood and the happy days in LA in the 70s, living in Venice and then in Hollywood, and then Saturday Night Live and going on tour. And it probably follows my career, I think, up into the late 80s or early 90s. And then I switch gears and talk about ideas and feelings and love and babies and what it's like to nurse. That's in there, but it might get edited out. But, you know, we're going back and forth with because I like talking about the things that happen when you're a mother, but maybe that's a different book entirely. So it's been a lot more work than I thought it would be. I thought I'd just tell a bunch of cool stories, but it seemed to immediately go into deep water. And now I'm on the 4th year, I think, working on it, but I'm almost done, I'm sure of it.
Wow, so
I finally found an editor. You know, I just needed somebody else to reflect off, and I found somebody.
That's good. It's always important to find good people to work with.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So let's back up a bit here in case folks are just tuning in. We're talking with Rickie Lee Jones. Most of us have been introduced to your music in the late 70s. It's songs such as Chucky's in Love, Easy Money, It Must Be Love. You've won 2 Grammys, toured all over the world, released 15 CDs, taken some time off for various things now and then, but it sounds like recently, I want to know what you're up to recently. You're doing the book for the last 3-4 years, and how about musically? What's been happening recently?
I'll just correct you. I think I won 3 Grammys.
Ooh.
I have a lot of nominations, but I got nominated for Best Jazz Duet with Dr. John.
Nice.
And then maybe I didn't win that one. I was going to say I won one with Rob Wasserman, but now that I think of it, you know, maybe Betty Carter took that one. I'm not sure about that. But, okay, so you were right and I was wrong.
Was the Dr. John one for Making Whoopee?
Yes, it was.
Nice.
That was a big hit for him.
Yeah, I just listened to that this morning.
Did you?
Yeah. So you said something, grandparents vaudevillians. I want to hear about that.
My grandfather's name on stage was Pegleg Jones.
Pegleg Jones.
He's the original Pegleg Jones, and he was pretty big on vaudeville. We had a clipping of him billed over Milton Berle.
Ooh.
That's just a name, you know, that people recognize. But and then his wife was a dancer. So I guess the way of life in vaudeville was they maybe get hired by a circuit like the Pantages or the Odeon, or I don't know if Fox was there, but then that promoter would put them in different theaters under the Pantages flag, say, so, flag. And So he danced and sang. He played the ukulele. He was a gymnast. He had to work hard on vaudeville.
Yeah.
And I think that having the one leg, obviously made it unique. But I have a clipping that said, and I really loved this journalist, whoever he was, a short, succinct review that said, "This monoped puts most two-legged men to shame."
Fantastic. That's so cool. Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, somebody's. I don't want to get rid of him. Sorry. But the thing about, I should have figured. Sorry about this. They're going to hang up soon, I hope. But I should have figured out. I should have liked to have seen him. I never met him, and I think that when people are, what's the word to use? Disabled, I guess. But he wasn't disabled. But when people have some kind of physical anomaly, we tend to use a different ruler to judge them. Oh, he's a good dancer for a one-legged guy.
Right.
And you laugh.
Yeah.
But he was evidently a great dancer, and he lost his leg playing by the railroad tracks when he was a little kid.
Wow.
So much of their stories are just right out of the dictionary of Americana, because you've seen these images on movies now so many times, but it really happened to him, and I love him, even though I never met him. They were both something when I was a little kid to aspire to be a performer that people wrote about and travel around the world.
Wow. So is he going to make it in? His story's going to make it into the book?
Yes, he is. Good. There.
Fantastic.
With a beautiful photograph.
That's so cool. We're talking with Rickie Lee Jones. She is coming to the Spruce Peak Performing Arts Center in Stowe Saturday, September 8th. And so, Rickie, tell us about what folks can expect when they come to the show.
I'm working with two guys, so we're a trio. One plays guitar, the other plays the vibraphone. And we've been playing now maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And the guy on the vibraphone is a master. You've just never seen anything like him. He's, a school musician, but his inclination has always been punk rock.
Ooh.
So he's a very unusual guy up there.
Nice. So punk rock on the vibes.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
The guitar player's 29 years old, and while he was a great player, it took us a long time to finally develop a rapport between us. We have it now, and so I think we all carry our own. It's really fun, and I look forward to playing. This is the truth. For the first time in my life,
wow,
I look forward to playing with these guys.
Okay.
And the stuff I do is from all of the catalog. I pretty much do whatever I feel like. I always do. What do I always do? I almost always do Say Weasel and the White Boy's Cool and The Last Chance Texaco. Other than that, who knows?
All right. So do you make up the set list before the show starts, or you just wing it right on the spot?
I just wing it on the spot.
Nice.
Because it depends on the feeling of the people. You stand out there and get their collective spirit, and that tells you which way to go.
Yeah. Well, you read the room.
Yes.
That's so cool. So, have you been to Vermont before?
Oh yeah, I played in Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
5 times, 6 times,
geez.
maybe more. Yeah.
Okay.
And I probably played some other place that I can't remember.
Have you been to this particular place, this venue in Stowe?
I just can't say for sure.
Okay. Well, this place in Stowe, it's the Spruce Peak Performing Arts Center. It's fairly new, totally state-of-the-art, gorgeous room. I think you're going to really like it. It's intimate, 420 seats. It's all wood. It's a nice, warm room.
It's so hard to find a great venue, to find a small place, but not a club.
Mm-hmm.
Some place that has great sound, but doesn't make people feel inhibited, isn't like a conference center as well as a performing arts. And when you find them, boy, you just come back again and again. So I look forward to seeing what it's like.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there. All that description it pretty much describes the Spruce Peak Performing Arts Center. Again, we're talking with Rickie Lee Jones, who's performing in Stowe on Saturday, September 8th. And the week of that show, the Arts Center has granted me a pair of tickets. We're going to be giving those tickets away, plugging the show, playing your music from now until then and afterwards. But I just wanted to let folks know to get tuned up for that one.
Get ready.
Yes. So tell me, when you do the show, is it one long set, or is it there's intermission in the middle, or?
I don't do an intermission. I never have done that. I kind of resented the idea of the pressure so people could go out and drink.
Uh-huh.
And also I think my shows have always been a kind of theater, at least to me. And the momentum and the journey we travel it's just not that long that we need a thing. You know, if it's an hour and a half, that's a long time for most of us. And if we take a break, then it's even longer. So I just like to get it done so we can go home and go to bed. And that's the truth. You know, I want it to be the perfect amount of time. And
Gotcha.
That's why I don't stick an intermission in there.
That's cool. You know, everyone's got their own approach, and if that works for you, that sounds like it's spot on.
Yeah.
Okay, so vibes, guitar, and what you're obviously singing, playing guitar. Other instruments do you play? Do you play your grandpa's ukulele?
No, I never did learn that. You know, when I was a kid, that was a very square instrument, so I never took it up. Let's see, I play the piano and the guitar. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I play an electric guitar as well. The vibraphonist plays a little drum kit, and you know, he's a percussionist, so he plays anything that you can bang.
Mm-hmm.
And the guitar player only plays his electric guitar.
Okay, so tell me more about growing up. Other than your grandparents' influence, who did you listen to when you were growing up?
Before the Beatles, who changed the world as it had been before they came, I was in a house. My father was a musician, and he loved jazz. The records he had were, which I don't remember hearing except for one, which was Nina Simone. But he had Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan.
Nice.
He had Tommy Dorsey, and who else was from Chicago? The Dorsey brothers, and anyway, he had some of the big bands. But Nina Simone had the most, I still remember the cover to the record, had the most distinctive voice. And it bothered me when I was little, you know, when he'd put on that contralto, oh, I love you. Okay. Sorry, I didn't warm up yet. But it was very hard for me to hear her. And so she's the first I remember. And then who was popular was Harry Belafonte and Andy Williams. They had really big hits.
Yep.
And besides, On Top of Old Smoky, which is the first song I remember coming out of the radio, we had this Calypso record, right? So,
right.
Oh, that was so beautiful to me. I'd lay in front of the record player and listen to that. And then the Beatles came out, and that was the first time I was overtaken or overwhelmed by the people as well as the music they played. The idea and enchantment of this you know, the place I bought it totally. I cut my hair, I had Beatle rings, I was a Beatle person. And I feel like it's not just a fantasy, you know, they cut into the world. They changed the world. Beatlemania, as it's called now, but then dismissively, it really went everywhere.
Right.
It opened the door for Bob Dylan, who in turn was his own revolution, and all the kinds of music that grew under that sun and that rain. So I think I grew up in the greatest time of AM music, when they played every kind of music on the radio.
I hear you.
In the same hour, you'd hear Bob Dylan, you'd hear, say, a Hank Williams song by B.J. Thomas, you'd hear the Beatles and the Supremes and the Four Tops,
Yep.
and then maybe, some instrumental song that you hated. But you were exposed to every, except for country and opera, you were exposed to every kind of popular music. I really think that's the best education anybody could have had.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's so divided by genre because of greed, because people think they can sell more if they identify one kind of buyer, that they don't expose people to other kinds of music. I think it's sad.
Yeah.
Culturally, it divides us, but musically, it makes us so uneducated. That's what I think about that.
I have to agree with you. And here at WDEV, we try to mix an actual, true variety of music in this show that I host called The Getaway. So I grew up in Philadelphia in the 60s, so I totally understand what you're saying with the variety pack. Within 1 hour, you can hear a wide range of different styles, and it was fantastic.
And even though young people are oriented to the other thing, you have to do it because somebody's going to hear it, for the first time. They're going to hear something, and who knows what the effects of what you do are. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, I have to
Glad
agree
to do
with
it.
you. So we're just about out of time, but I want to remind folks we're talking with Rickie Lee Jones. She's coming to the Spruce Peak Performing Arts Center in Stowe Saturday, September 8th. For more information, you can call 802-760-4634 or go to sprucepeakarts.org. And I'll have a pair of tickets the week of the show to give away here on The Getaway on WDEV. So, Rickie, I'm sorry, but we're pretty much out of time. But I want to thank you for taking a few minutes and sharing it with us today.
Well, I want to thank you for also doing the same thing and taking the time to promote the show so people can remember who I am or find out who I am and come and see it. Thank you.
You got it. We're happy to help out. Thank you.
All right. Adios.
Bye-bye.